Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. I'm Andrew Douglas. The American Red Cross, boy, they help out in all kinds of disasters, in all kinds of situations. And Hurricane Helene has been one of those situations that people that are affected in those areas, in those states, are going to have to be rebuilding and cleaning up for an extraordinary amount of time. It was just overwhelming, the disaster we're watching on TV, and certainly the American Red Cross relief efforts are underway right now. I'm joined right now by Trevor Riggin, President of Humanitarian Services with the American Red Cross. Trevor, good morning to you. Can you give us an update on how relief efforts are going right now?
Well, thank you so much for having me on, Andrew. I'm actually here in Tampa, Florida, where we have our headquarters for relief operations for the entire state of Florida for Helene and Milton. But as you described, these two storms back to back move not only through Florida, but Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, even up into Tennessee and West Virginia. And the devastation is very real. You can see just traumatic hurricane impacts, inundation and surge along the west coast of Florida, tornadoes that happened even before landfall, massive damage to homes and power all up through Georgia and South Carolina. And then as you noted, we have just extreme impact in Western North Carolina with some of the mountain communities. And right now, the Red Cross has over 2,000 Red Cross volunteers and staff on the ground serving. We have mobilized emergency response vehicles, serving hot meals, distributing supplies. We've also opened hundreds of shelters over the last 2 weeks. In fact, tens of thousands of people have come to the Red Cross and our partners for shelters when there simply was no other place to go. And we are still seeing families show up at shelters even today as that need continues, as you have extended power outages all across the area. The other impact was in reunification. With the loss of power and cell phone connectivity, thousands of families couldn't connect with their loved ones. We received over 11,000 calls for help in reunifying families. We have 200 dedicated Red Crossers working those cases today to make sure those families can reconnect. But all of this is just the beginning. We know there's a long road to recovery. We're beginning health and mental health resources. We'll begin casework, working alongside our community partners to make sure the Red Cross is there by these families for the long term.
So many families, thousands are affected by all of this. And I know that the public right now, we have thousands of people that watch us here each and every morning on the digital desk. I know they want to help. What are some of the best ways that they can help? In fact, Trevor, there was some people that reached out to me that said, hey, I have all these different supplies that I want to send. Is there a way perhaps that people can do that?
So supplies are difficult in a disaster of this scale because there's so many resources moving in, the logistics of it. In fact, I saw firsthand in North Carolina and other communities where warehouses were starting to overflow with resources. They are needed, but it's the timing of when they're needed, making sure we're not overwhelming communities. So the easiest way to mobilize not just the Red Cross, but other nonprofits is to make a financial gift. And you can go to redcross.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS to make that donation. You can also volunteer. Our organization has more than 90% volunteers, and volunteers are needed every single day. I met a volunteer yesterday in St. Lucie, Florida, signed up on Wednesday in Seattle to become a volunteer, and by Saturday she was serving in a shelter in Florida, serving those impacted by a tornado. You can go to redcross.org, sign up. The training is free, and we get you mobilized and out there in the community. And then the last way is to donate blood. There are hundreds of blood drives that are canceled when weather like this comes in, and that there is a constant need for blood in communities. You can go to redcross.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS, make an appointment to donate blood. That in itself could save a life.
Anything else you want our audience to know about, Trevor? I mean, this is something that unfortunately we are seeing, and it's not necessarily A1 or the first story, but it is still something that so many lives and families are profoundly changed from this point forward. Anything else you'd like them to know?
The one thing that may not be obvious if you don't live in the Southeast or haven't been in these communities impacted is the repetitive loss. So if you look at the constant hurricanes that have hit the west coast of Florida, 6 in just the last 2 years. I've talked to families in the Big Bend area of Florida who lost their home in Hurricane Ian or in Hurricane Idalia, and now they've had to ride through Debbie, Francine, Helene, and Milton, each of those bringing more loss either to their property or they've had to evacuate, which means expense. The power's been out for days, maybe even weeks, and that means they've lost all the food in the refrigerator. So just the continual impact and the repetitive loss in these communities is creating real trauma that means this isn't going to be a short-term immediate response. This will take long-term recovery to help these families move forward. And unfortunately, this is a trend we're seeing all over the country. This is not just a Florida issue. We're seeing repetitive loss in wildfires in the West, in tornadoes in the middle of the country. And so we're just calling on people to join the Red Cross, whether it's making a financial donation or joining to be a volunteer. We do need your help.
Okay, anything else before we let you go? I appreciate your time on the digital desk. I know the American Red Cross is very busy in multiple states trying to help all these people that are affected and displaced.
No, I just greatly appreciate the time and the focus on these communities as they go through what is going to be a very difficult recovery.
Yeah, no question about it. Trevor Riggin with the American Red Cross. We appreciate your time here. Thank you for coming on and explaining exactly what's happening, best ways that people can help out, reach out, and do everything they can to help so many lives that are forever changed because of these storms. We appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay.